Here is a short overview of all the parts with the accumulator tank, the high pressure side switch, the low pressure side switch, the inlet side valves. I will be replacing most of the O-rings. Continuing, we have the circulation return valve. These parts fit into the piston head, and I will not be using them in this video except for the grooved seal. So let's get into the rebuild, starting with the return or circulation valve. At a given pressure, when the pressure washer is idling or pressure gets too high, the water will loop back to the float tank. It is considered a safety valve. Make sure to check that the seat and the red pad on the return valve is not damaged. Either can cause loss of pressure or no pressure at all. Seat is put into place, and the valve itself after. The helical spring is put in place. The valve screw will get a new metric 12x2 O-ring. Here I am preparing the valve housing sleeves with the new O-rings. The valves are simply dropped into their position. They may need a bit of force to get seated fully. Following the sleeves behind. You can hear or feel the valves pop into their place below it. The last sleeve is for the low pressure switch. The valve housing with the new O-rings are screwed onto the bottom of the cylinder head and secured. Next, we assemble the soap dispenser inlet with its no return valve. It's seated the same way as the previous valves, followed by the hose stem screw. The low pressure side switch has a spring and a stem with an O-ring and a square follower ring. They can be really tedious to remove and replace because they are small and the fit is very tight. I replaced them off camera to save you the hassle and me the embarrassment. It's a good idea to give the stem and spring a little lube as these are on the dry side. Then the stem assembly is pushed into its seat, followed by the screw plug. You can also give the cap a little bit of lube as well to avoid it being unnecessarily worn. The switch is held against the screw plug and fastened with a U-plug. Next, we assemble the accumulator tank to help the pump to give stable pressure. It's simply a new O-ring in the bottom of the cylinder head opening and then screw it in tight. The high pressure side valves have a different valve to the rightmost opening, but to be honest I cannot see any difference in that one and the 5 other ones, except for the color though. There might be some tension difference, but I don't know. I like to lube up the O-rings a little bit before inserting them. Here you can see them compared. It might be that the blue one requires a little less force to open. I don't know, I'll follow the manual. These are also dropped in and pressed the rest of the way with a suited tool. The caps got new O-rings. They are Shore 90 ones. They get screwed in and torqued according to specs, harder than the rest of the screws. Let's go for the high pressure side switch. This one also have an extender that needs a new O-ring. It's quite similar to the low pressure, but this has a valve that when open presses against the switch. That means when pressure is at the top, the motor stops, and when you press the trigger on the gun, the pressure releases and the motor starts to run again. is dropped into the opening and followed by the same procedure with the stem and spring through the extender screw. Then the cap with some lube on and the switch with the U-clip is attached. The last part is the regulator screw. This has the same type of stem and new O-rings need to be mounted here as well. The little ball is placed on top of the spring and pushed into the regular housing. The ball helps the spring slide and not bend when turning and applying force. There's actually two types of lock nuts. The part list says that this model should have a grooved locking nut with a seal inside, but the one I have doesn't have this groove, and thereby I cannot use the O-ring that is meant to be there. Stem gets a bit of lube. And is pressed into its seat, followed by the regulator assembly. Last but not least, it's time to put the cap on, and that's it. Just as a last step worth mentioning is that the grooved rings go in here. But if they drop in like mine does here, you will need to replace them as they are not sealing properly anymore. When not worn, they will have to use some lube and tools to press it in. You can see the full repair of the Karcher HDS 695 pressure washer amongst my other videos. If you like this video, let me know by clicking the like button, and if you want to see more random repairs, then hit the subscribe button. I have linked to the spare parts list in the description below. Good luck, and see you later.